All right, good morning. I certainly hope and pray that all is well with everyone. I hope that you're having a wonderful morning. So, yesterday, I went and got a massage, right? um, I got it off a Groupon. That was the best fucking massage I have ever had. Um, Now, you have massage therapy, and you have people that just do massage, but not therapy, not therapeutic. I think that was a massage therapist. And that shit was awesome. It was fucking awesome. And I was out for the count after that. I mean, I had some running to do. I did some running, came home, ate, and was out. Okay. Woke up trying to make myself do shit. I was going to come online and read the second chapter. Well, not the second chapter. I think it'd be like, yeah, the second chapter of the Four Agreements, be impeccable with your word. But I hadn't read it. So I just read it real quick, and I was I was so sleepy I couldn't. So I got in the bed and went to sleep. So I just got done watching. I don't watch TV too much. I have been on a streak lately where I've been watching a lot of movies because I love movies. I was watching client of mine I was working with. They wanted to see this documentary about Eddie Murphy being Eddie. I had never heard of it again because I don't uh, watch TV. I don't know what's going on out there. I love Eddie Murphy. Love, 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 love Eddie Murphy. Okay. He's an Aries like myself. As a matter of fact, I think his birthday is maybe a day or two before mine. Let me see. Let me look it up. April 3rd. Yep. I'm April 4th. April 4th. So, anyway, always, it's not so much his acting necessarily or his comedic, uh, you know, his comedy or whatever that I really love. It's just something about him as a person. I really like Charlie Murphy as well. I thought man, I love me some Charlie Murphy. I think I liked him more than Eddie Murphy. But the funny thing is, we watched it. It was so on being. I think it was called Being Eddie. We watched it, and there were some things that he said that uh, I could resonate with or experience myself. And I was telling my client that after that went off, what was it? That movie Golden Child, The Golden Child, was in preview. And I told him, I said I never saw that. And I said, well, as much as I love Eddie Murphy, you would think that I've seen all his movies and everything, but I haven't because it was during a time like in the 80s. Okay, some of them that, my teenage years, maybe I wasn't allowed to see certain things or, you know, and, he had a mouth, he cussed a lot. I remember when no, not Delirious, Raw came out, me and a friend of mine, I was in high school. We went to see it. Her mom came with us. Well, her mother had a fit afterwards. I just can't believe that y'all would just sit there and watch something like that, all that cussing. That was, of course, the reputation that he had, all the cussing and whatnot. So certain things I was not allowed to see or didn't think I would be allowed to see. So fuck it. Why ask? So I didn't. So I started watching The Golden Child because, like, again, I never saw it. And I'm watching bits and pieces. I mean, I'm watching it. I haven't finished it, but there were bits and pieces, things that were being said in the movie. I was like, yeah, that's this chosen one thing, The Golden Child. And I watched this video yesterday, this YouTube video yesterday about the guy who, as a creator, was talking about these movies and how they all pretty much have the same theme of the this paradise or a fallen world, a savior, a demiurge, okay, or Yaldabaoth is God or whatever, who created this material realm, um, and the savior trying to set people free. It's the same story over and over again, the Jesus story, you know. And that story came, there were more stories uh, in the ancient times out of Jesus' whole thing before that Jesus story. Okay. What do they say there? 33 or 30 risen saviors? I'm not sure of the number. But anyway, I'm really hungry. But I wanted to go ahead and do this video. So one thing, in the movie, the Golden Child. Again, I'm watching it as I'm working with my client, and so I didn't get all the names of everybody, but I'm going to go back and watch the whole thing. But the person, that would be like the who was talking to the demon, the white guy, looked like, you know, had the kind of vampire look or whatever. What would he be? I don't know. Well, it wouldn't be a demiurge character. I can't remember exactly. But anyway, you know, they were trying to keep the golden child, quote unquote, from saving the world. All right. So Eddie Murphy's character would have been the chosen one. Okay, the chosen one to save the golden child, to find the golden child, and okay, so to save the world. But Eddie Murphy had a dream, okay, and that goes into the dreamscape. You know, I tell you a lot about how these people have done a lot of dream infiltration on me, trying to, you know, extract things I'm hearing or change things, modify things, make me think a certain way, so on and so forth, thinking that it will translate over into this material realm. Okay. He said to Eddie Murphy in the dream, he wants to make a deal with him. Okay, deal with the devil. Okay, how would you, I want to make a deal with you. Have you ever thought about how people who obviously, maybe not the brightest people in the world, not the smartest, don't have a lot going on in their lives or whatever, but they make it to these heights in this material realm, okay, maybe with their career or whatever, they make a lot of money, so on and so forth, or whatever. And I said, wow, that goes into exactly what I wanted to talk about, right? So or people that they're not as smart as you, okay, but they make it to these great heights, but people like yourself don't, who probably should, you know, but you don't. So he's just telling the truth, right? So let's make a deal. Okay. So he didn't make any kind of deal with him, but he woke up and saw that what was happening in the dream was actually real. Okay, just like these people, okay, when they do the dream infiltration and whatnot. So I, in this journey, this path I've been on, when I have talked about these people that I've named, see, I was under the impression that these things began when I started my first YouTube channel, which I believe was in 2019. Then it's just like, seemed like all of a sudden. But if you've been paying attention, I'm just like, no, some of this stuff, I don't know when it began. Okay, now as far as the lady who raised me, I'm like, well, she probably was doing it from the moment that I was put under her care. Maybe not that exact moment. but I don't know. But I'm sure if it is for me to, for it to be brought to my consciousness, it will be. And possibly I'll share what has come to me. And then I said, well, I spoke about her and her family. And then we find out, okay, this is not my birth mother. And then I thought about my dad. I said, well, I don't think he played a role in this. And not what she was doing. And I am not 1,000% sure, but I kept getting no. But then again, but he did do something. He's not innocent, as far as I'm concerned. Okay. So I said, well, there have to be, and I think I probably alluded to this at some point in time uh, with these videos. I said, there has to be people of higher forces who are participating in this. Now, there is one, and then I don't listen to a lot of readers, okay? I stated that. I probably have like 3 that I listen to regularly. Yeah, that I listen to regularly. And a couple on the fringes I might listen to every now and then. But there was one I listened to who for years, she has been saying, you know, and I'm not saying she's specifically talking to me. You use your discernment, okay, and then you figure out what's being, because these are supposed to be collective readings, right? Although I really do believe that there are readers on here who are readings for specific people. Okay, maybe they've been paid to do it, maybe they just are benevolent and want to do it to assist the person, or maybe they're doing it from a malevolent point of view to help others that are working against you, who you may not know are working against you. Okay, and can disguise it under, okay, this is a collective reading, when really it's not. Okay, and those that are they're gathering the information about you are listening. Okay, maybe to possibly stop you, so on and so forth. Now I'm thinking about this movie, The Golden Child. Okay, this child was there to supposed to save the world, right? So somebody of that ranking, I guess you could say, or with that mission, okay, would have a lot of uh, great forces working against them, or what you all call opposing them, or that you all use the word, you say, yeah, okay. I don't like using some of the terminology, because it, to me, it is some of the things just become trendy. Okay, and it becomes a trending thing, as opposed to what it really is. You know, so I'd rather just say the word opposition shit, fuck it, as opposed to it's just trendy shit, okay? And then you hear it in some rap song and all that kind of stuff. Although I do remember years ago, I was real young, probably in my 20s. I think I was living in Memphis, Tennessee at that time. Yeah, I was in my 20s and living in Memphis. And I went into a bookstore and I picked up this magazine. Lil' Kim was Lil' Kim. She was on the cover. And I didn't really know any of her stuff. I really still don't, okay? But I wanted to see what she was talking about. And I'm reading it, and she said in there, she said, this is it was a long time ago. I'm 53, so I might have been like, hell, 27, 26, something like that. She said in there, this is a spiritual war. This is, spiritual warfare. She said people, something along the lines, I remember that specifically, but something along the lines, she was saying people think they know, or they think they know what's going on, or they think they understand, but she said they don't. This is, it is a spiritual war. And I was like, well, what is she, I was so young, I was like, what is she talking about? How is she, ain't she a rap artist? This was my thinking at the time. But at the same time, something in me said, she know what the hell she's talking about, and she's saying she's not speaking to the general audience of readers. She's speaking to a specific group of people. I had that much sense to know that then, okay? But anyway. So a person like that would have this golden child. It would have a lot of opposition. Okay, and it's not personal. Just like I wanted when I get to that four agreements, it's the second agreement is don't take anything personally. Okay, something like that, or don't take things personal, or something like that. It's really not personal. They don't have anything. These forces that are working against the golden child don't have anything against the child personally. Okay, no, you know, but it's what the child represents or what the child is there to do at whatever point in time in its life. Okay, so this is just kind of a side note. One thing that was said about Eddie Murphy in this video, being Eddie, was that when he was younger, he, had determined that, he was going to be famous and said, I'm going to be famous. And that he pointed to the TV, his brother, Charlie Murphy, said it, that he would always point to the TV and say, that's what I want to do. I want to be on there, which I find interesting because when I was younger, when I was little, that's what I would do. I would point to the TV and say, I want to be on there. I want to be in there. Okay. I wanted to be on TV. I wanted to be a star. Okay. I remember one time, and there would be times, and then I heard there was an actress who I never liked. Never liked. The bitch is dead now. Okay. I've mentioned this before. So when I became more aware of my life and all these weird, strange happenings around me, I came across a video about this actress. This is after her death. She's younger than me, white girl. And which is going to lead me to what the reader had been saying for years. The uncle who, I looked at the video and I was like, I felt in my heart and spirit, I said, this sounds like they trafficked this girl. Like she was really trafficked by her father, okay? Sex trafficked. And they said, oh, she would point at the TV and said, I'm going to do that. I want to be on there. And I said, something in me said, no, she didn't say that. I said that. And I said, you know what? I wonder, because it happens, if, you know how they will switch, with the quote-unquote common person to give some of these people that are celebrities or become celebrities, your energy and your path and what you're supposed to do and be. I said, I wonder, do they do that? Because I never liked that girl. No, I used to look at her, this actress, and be like, ugh. It was just like some disdain I had for her. And I'd be thinking to myself, why do you feel that way? It's like, you don't know her personally. It's just this disdain. And when she died, something in me felt like it was lifted off of me. And I'm listening to this, I'm like, bullshit. And there were a couple other things that they said. I was like, no, that happened to me. I said, it's like they're telling my story here. Okay? I damn sure ain't saying that about Eddie Murphy. I'm just saying I thought that was interesting. But, so this reader, that girl, it was like that family and that actress, and it was almost, I began to, as I was watching her story, something in me began to feel compassion as opposed to disdain. And I said, it sounds like this girl was trafficked. It sounds like this girl was thrown into a world realm that she didn't even want to be in. Okay. But this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to be. Her family members had ties. I'll just say it like that. Okay. Well, no kind. They be telling you these stories about these celebrities sound like they just had a common, just regular life. I mean, they just made it and became great. No. Common, regular life, my ass. In some kind of way, they're always interrelated, related in some kind of way. Distant cousins or something like that. Or they all grew up in the same town or all went to the same schools. The bullshit. Okay. But anyway, or come to find out they probably was in some of them camps that I talked about that they have here in Ohio and other parts of the United States, okay, where their parents sold them. Okay, parents either were cajoled into selling them into these camps, or their parents, didn't have no money to take care of them, or their parents sacrificed them, or whatever the case may be. And then before you know it, you look up and they have become a celebrity. Okay, and people tend to think that celebrities are free and they have it great because they have all this money, so on and so forth. And there have been some to come out and basically try to show you what the real deal is, but they are being, some of them are silenced. Okay, or called crazy. That word. That's why I say y'all say the same typical shit all over and over again, over and over. It's just like it's so old, it's so dull, it's really. Okay, I think people are waking up to the reality that this is some bullshit. Okay, that what that some of what that person is saying is trying to show the world there's validity there. Okay, but all the cover up, okay, which things are being exposed, but I'm not saying everything is being exposed. And if someone is sending something to me, return to sender on your fucking ass right back at your motherfucking ass. You do it all the time. Just insane. Okay. So, nevertheless, back to what I was saying here. And I don't know if that girl was, if there were energies of other people, quote unquote common people, that was being given to her. Because when she died, something in me, like I said, was lifted off to me. But I also remember saying to myself, it came to me, now other people can have a chance. So there might have been things where, they don't just do it to just one person. They will do it to more than one. Take their energies and their essences and all of that kind of thing for them to, with their celebrity shit or stardom or whatever it is. So this reader had been saying for years, your parents may have sold you to the industry. And I was thinking, what does she mean by that? I remember thinking, like I said, she's been saying it a long time. It ain't, it's been a few years. Okay, and I know there may be somebody, who she talking about? Let me go look and see who she talking about. Who said that? Whatever. And then I think I finally began to understand, because I hadn't heard her say it for a while, and then I heard her say it not that long ago, and I said, I think I'm understanding what she's saying. Okay. And then we say the industry. When people say the industry, I always just would think, first I thought the music industry, then I would think, no, the whole entertainment industry. But it's so much deeper than that. It's so much more than that, okay? So, it will be, common, what you think is common people or common world around. Like I worked at a small theater here, a distant place at a small theater here, Karamu Theater, which is, I believe it's historic, but the things that I would hear people would do there just for a role, just to be on stage at the Karamu Theater, I thought was ridiculous. I thought was hilarious. I said, for a role at a community theater? Hell, if you're going to do that, take it all the way to the big screen. Okay. I was talking to a lady from from New York who works on Broadway the other day, and we were talking about that, and she said it was just a power dynamic. Doesn't matter how big or how small it is. It's the power dynamic. And I said, yeah. But anyway, it didn't come to me that now I'll have a chance. And I said, it came to me now other people will have the chance. She's moved out the way. But again, like when I was watching, I said to myself, this girl doesn't even seem like this is something that she wanted to do. It's something that sounds like something she was forced into. So, I had not looked at any of these people's YouTubes, Facebooks, Instagrams. I don't know if any of them are on YouTube, but any of their social media profiles until the other day. Okay. I can't even tell you what led me to do it, but I did. And I'm glad I did. Like that man said on that movie. I wish I would have went back so I could got it word for word. But in other words, have you? He said that in Murphy. Have you ever wondered? In other words, how people who have less than you are not as smart as you in so many words, or they just kind of low hanging fruit, do so well in life, have succeeded and get, and all these great things. You ain't ever wondered why. Now, you can take this as me being judgmental, however you want to take it. That's okay with me. Okay. I looked at one person, I said, this is not even the same human being that I knew. I'm debating, maybe I'll say their names, maybe I won't. This is not even the same human being. Who is this person? So one day, about a month ago, I was thinking about this person, and I said, I wonder what happened to them, and I heard that they're dead. Now we automatically think physical death. So I got some friends, psychic friends and whatnot, magical, mystical friends who ain't on this fucking app and ain't on social media. So ain't no need for people who are all up in my Kool-Aid and what they say, all up in my world trying to get a piece and a slice for you to think you're going to find and figure it out who the fuck I'm talking about. Because you won't. I don't give a fuck if you come in my dreams or not. That shit is over. Okay. But anyway, not saying you can't do it, but you ain't gonna get shit. And they got the same thing. They said, I keep getting that this person is dead. So yeah, me too. That's weird. But the physical person is not. When I saw what I saw, not even the same person. This is a totally different person. I kind of mentioned it a little bit when I was doing the reading there on the planet and the domestication of the planet or whatever in the Four Agreements. So this is a totally different human being. This is a totally different person. This person continues to astral project to me. I think they have found out where I live. I think they drive past my home, things of that nature. Matter of fact, they was in here the other day, and I told them to get out. They're very, very stealth in their astral projection. Some people aren't, okay, but some people are. I can't talk about every single person who's done it, okay, or felt their presence. But this person is very stealth with it. And when I was talking about them, when I was reading the domestication of the planet over there with the Four Agreements, when I made reference to them, then, they removed themselves from my life. And I listened and I watched, I listened, I said, what happened here was this person completely unalived their true self, who they are, to become something else. Okay. This was part of the crew of the people who was torturing and tormenting me with all the dream infiltration, kicking my ass and all that kind of stuff years back. That I was texting Brianna to rebel me about, who she came here and got involved with. So then I looked some more. And I'm telling you, it was the most surreal, bizarre thing I had ever seen. But I recognized and realized you ain't the first person to see some shit like that. I mean, there was nothing there in that person's whole being that even connected, besides the way they look, physical, face to face, remotely with the person that I knew. I said, it was just really, like I said, surreal, and it was bizarre. So then, it kind of came to me, keep looking. Then I saw another person they had gotten married. And part of me went to my pettiness, like, this person always got to be with some goddamn man. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, that's what how you do it. That's how you do it. And I said, okay, they got married. But who is this person that they married? And it's no reason that I would necessarily know because I haven't been around. Okay? And won't be around. But it was something in the person's face. The person they married, I was like, that person, they look strange to me. Look really weird. Keep looking. Then I saw someone who was like lower than the gutter. They won an award and were promoted in their work. But I saw that person not that long ago, and I'm like, this was before I saw the promotion and everything and the award, but I saw that and I said, that looked like, ew, they look gross, because I saw them physically, looked them dead in their face. Okay, it looked like the same ugh that I knew, but I was so blind back then I didn't see the ugh. And I said, wait a minute. These people, they received. Now, I don't know if this is through some devil shit, you know what I'm saying, making deals with the devil. If you do this, then A, B, C, and D, then this will happen magically. Or if it was deals with the devil in the form of people or what. But it came to me and said these people were rewarded, okay, for trying to torment and destroy you, and probably would have gotten a whole lot more if what they had set out to do, if you went completely under, okay, they would have received more. And I said to myself, you mean tell me that even during that period of time, just for the work in and of itself, just for the going after you, to torment you and all of this kind of stuff, okay, they received these quote-unquote blessings. Yes. Just like the man said in that movie, have you ever wondered? I knew this girl years ago, just as sweet as she can be. She was one people would call crazy. They did. She weird, she strange, all of that shit. I worked with her, okay? Used to talk to her real deep, okay? But she was a little different, okay? But I think it was more so a fear of, when people are constantly your whole life berating you and saying and calling you names and all of that kind of stuff, you develop a real defense and a wall. And because that was even though I talked to her, that was still even the way she would communicate. Like, I'm communicating with you, I am open to talking to you, but at the same time I'm holding back. You could see it in her the way she would her mannerisms and stuff in her communication. Well, she had two beautiful girls. And she used to tell me, the man who she had the children by, he was evil, a hateful motherfucker, the same shit. Did her wrong, did her dirty, wouldn't help her with the girls and all of that type of shit. And she said, but I just don't understand how he has done so well in life. It's just not fair. He's done all these terrible things to me. He won't take care of these girls. This, that, and that. I've been on my own, blah, 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 this, that, and the other. But, like, in other words, where's his fucking karma? How come what he done put around and came back to him? And I would say, well, maybe you don't know all his personal life and the personal things going on with me. May have, okay? And she just was looking at me like, bitch, I don't care what you say. You know what I'm saying? It don't look like it to me, goddamn. And here I am. I'm suffering. I don't have much. I'm struggling financially. I'm doing the best I can. Blah, blah, this, that, and the other. Never met this man, never saw him or anything like that. Well, I hadn't talked to her for years. Years later, she died. She had died of cancer. She died of, I believe, lung cancer. She wasn't a smoker. She lived a very clean life. Okay, she ate well, you know, very health conscious. Okay, um, and here it is. She goes to like a urgent care or something one day, and come through a series of events. Come to find out, she's got some advanced stage lung cancer, and she didn't live long after that. It's like, wow, it was really, felt really strange. Like, how did that happen? That was so weird and strange. I don't know. I didn't know get to know her girls or anything like that. I met them, so I don't know anything about where anybody's life is today. Now, I can't say this man did anything to her. Uh, all of that. The shit we talking about, this spiritual shit, and taking their life in essence, and sacrificing them and all of that, but very well could have been, because she did meet him in a religious sector. Okay. And as we're seeing, and we know that's where a lot of that shit is. That's one of the all these institutions, schools and churches and the medical world and realm. That's where all the evil is. Okay. So as I thought about it, I looked. I said, "Wait a minute." I began to think about these people's lives, the little bit that I knew, and I said, "When did that person obtain that, or when did that person move there, or when did that person A, B, C, and D?" That was the other thing. People moved and so on and so forth. Things I said, wait a minute. I remember when I was before I had ever started a YouTube channel, I had, I'm gonna say I was sick, because physically I wasn't. And what I mean by that is, I was going to the doctors and everything, and we can't find anything. Making them admit me to the hospital, all kind of stuff. Couldn't find anything. Nothing. We don't see anything wrong with you. Okay, ain't that what folks be talking about? How some of these sicknesses from this black magic and whatnot, and you go to the hospital and doctors are like, we don't see shit. We can't find shit. It's a fucking mystery. It's like all of a sudden, started having I had an anxiety attack at that gym that I worked at. Never had an anxiety attack, a panic attack. I don't know if it's the same thing or not. Yeah, I thought I was about to die. Okay, they came to the job. The ambulance came, whatnot, took me. Uh, I don't know, to the hospital, whatever, and we can't find anything wrong with you. I just know my head was just like, for a few days. It was just so weird the way I felt. That is what seemed to like spark all of this. But there were times before that I would feel a little strange, or I would have heart palpitations, this, that, and the other, but nothing major. So this thing was on me for maybe like a year, or maybe a little bit longer. I can't remember, but I had talked about this. I had developed, what is it when you can't go outside when you're of the fear? No, I'm about to say agoraphobia. That ain't it. Let me look real quick and see if I can find it. I had heard about a woman who had that before, and I thought it was strange. Oh, I'm right. Agoraphobia. Okay, agoraphobia. Okay, which is an anxiety disorder where a person fears places or situations where escape might be difficult or help unavailable. I didn't really wasn't thinking like that. I just was scared to go outside. You understand what I'm saying? Which was so unusual for me, because I was always a person that was always on the go. I mean, to the point where people would always say to me, "We can never find you. We can never keep up with you. You just, where are you?" And I'm out, shit. And I was never the type of person that I had to have someone with me. ever. You know, if I want whatever, if I want to go do something, I'm going to go do it. I will go to the movies by myself, go out to eat by myself. People thought that was so strange, and I'm like, why would you think that that's strange? I thought it was strange that people thought that was strange. You do, you know, my attitude was, you do what you want to do, you live the life you want to live. You don't have time to wait for someone. And me, I'm my best company for myself. Sometimes I don't like having another person with me because I don't like to. I can, well, I guess you call it empathic. I would feel other people's, and I didn't have names for any of this stuff back then. I thought it was just me, which is funny because when I was watching that documentary, Being Eddie, that's what he said on there, how he found out he had, he was a little, what is it, OCD, how he kept getting up and checking to make sure that the gas was off on his stove. How he would, you know, turn it off, go lay down, 10 minutes later, get back up, goes to the stove, turn it off, go lay down. And he would do this but four or five times. You know, he said he did it every night. And then he said he was sitting there watching TV and they were talking about mental illness and they talked about OCD. He was like, wait, what? Mental illness, you know. And that he said, I thought it was just weird. He said, I thought it was just a weird thing that I did, you know, that he did. But he realized, you know, watching that what it was. And he said when he learned that that's what it was, and mental illness, he was like, you know, no, I'm not going to, in other words, allow myself to have a mental illness. He said, so he just made himself stop doing it. Okay. Um, I thought that was funny. And that's what I was saying. Some things he said I could resonate with. I'm sure other people as well. Because that particular thing, the agoraphobia, I remember when I had it, I remember, and that it didn't last long because I wouldn't let it last long. I remember thinking about this woman years earlier in church talking about how she had at one point had a fear of going outside, and I thought that was so strange. But when it had hit me, shit, I was like, fuck this, I ain't got time for that. I have to move. I have to live. I have things that I have to do. You know, I have a child to take care of. I have a home to take care of. I gotta pay my bills. I gotta, you know, whatever. So I forced myself. You know, I don't have time to go to a fucking doctor for them to tell me you got this, for them to shove a pill down my throat. Okay, I gotta make this work. I'm not gonna live like this. And I did. I did. You know, little step here, little step there, blah blah blah, until I overcame it. And I remember I was in these groups for perimenopause support groups when we were talking about it, and I was stating what I had done for myself, and one lady said, well, you were really brave to do that. And for me it was like, well, it's not so much about being brave, it's more so about that, you know, I have a life that I have to live. I don't have anyone taking care of me, okay, despite what people may have said. And I'm saying that to say I wouldn't have thought back then that anybody said that they did take care of me. But now I'm looking back on things and I say, oh, these people were setting me up here. Okay, which I've been talking about this. These people were setting me up, especially this lady who raised me. Okay, to say that I'm crazy and I can't do this, that I can't take care of myself, blah, 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 blah. Well, anyway, that was one of the symptoms that, and I don't know, that could be a perimenopause symptom. I did not know what was wrong with me. When I looked into it more and more and more, I said, okay, maybe this is perimenopause, what I'm going through here. Maybe this is hormonal. I didn't know the term perimenopause. But upon doing research, I found perimenopause. But to this day, see, a lot of the perimenopause symptoms, I have read up. My aunt one time gave my dad's sister, who I mentioned on here, who I believe, I can't say for sure, but I believe may have taken something that was left for me by my great grandmother, which would be her grandmother, and God knows who else. Okay, but she gave me and these people are always so spiritual or religious, but she gave me a packet about ascending and all of this kind of stuff. A supposed spiritual person who's been studying this for years. That's what I'm talking about with the spirituality and whatnot. But people don't even know to do the basics. Be kind, be loving, don't be a thief. You know, so. It's just basic shit. You understand what I'm saying? But you want to ascend. Okay, how? You're a thief. Okay. But anyway, she gave me a packet on about ascending and ascension symptoms. And I read the symptoms and I was like, shit, this shit sounds like perimenopause. It's the exact same symptoms. I was looking at something else the other day. I can't remember what it was. And the symptoms that they were naming. Oh, There's a channel on here about UFOs and abduction, alien abduction, and I watched it because there was a video about Black Americans talking about their experiences, which you really don't hear a whole lot about Black people talking about their alien uh, abduction experiences and UFO and all that kind of stuff. Okay, not publicized. So I thought it was so interesting. So I watched it, and I watched a couple more videos, and they were. Oh no, that wasn't it. That wasn't it, but I did watch that. That I guess that needed to be said. No, I was listening to a podcast or a video, but with Delbert Blair, and he was talking about he had people on there who were targeted individuals. This is pretty old, okay, and they were talking about the experiences they had. Not some of the minor stuff that people talk about on here, but some pretty heavy stuff. And they were giving some of the symptoms, and I said, hell, that sounds like perimenopause symptoms. Okay, so I've been sitting there trying to figure out, like, so was that perimenopause that I was going through? And I did. I mentioned this a long time ago, and because I did hear that some of these things can set off, trigger these processes in the body, like some of the that black magic that people do, it can trigger the early menopause or perimenopause, which is really okay with me as far as that shit is concerned. Okay, um, again, those targeted individuals, the things that they would experience physically, things being done to the nervous system and so on and so forth, constantly putting you in a fight or flight mode, and particular symptoms coming through. And I was like, shit, I've experienced these symptoms, but a lot of these things were, again, symptoms under perimenopause, which made me question this whole phenomenon of menopause. Okay, perimenopause, menopause, um, and if it is actually a true, authentic, I guess you could say, or organic phenomenon that occurs in women. Okay. Um, and I can say that based off of the violence that is done, and I don't necessarily mean just violence in the way that you may think, but the violence that is done to women in a patriarchal society. And this realm is still, at this point in time, still very patriarchal. Okay. Um, I know that people are, oh, the great mother is coming and it's turning into a matriarchal system. Okay, maybe so, but these things do not happen overnight. Just as long as it took for the patriarchal, well, just as long as it has been for the one system to be in the place, it will take that time, maybe even longer, for the turning of the tides to another. And it will happen, not because of anything, moral or anything like that. No, it will happen because that is the way of the world. Change is the only constant. You have the yin and yang, the will. It turns, the pendulum swings both ways. Okay, it's impossible for it not to occur. All right. If you had civilizations that were much more advanced technologically, like Atlantis, for example, and it fell to the shit hole that we are in now, then of course it will go back to what it was, revived again, right? Okay, I guess we would call that the ebb and the flow, right? But anyway, um, so many days. I don't know about many days. I don't really think about it that much anymore. But there are times I wonder, I'm like, So I wonder what those symptoms that I experienced actually were. Okay. I would have the shock to the body. I still do sometimes. Okay. Um, the tremors, the internal things. Okay. Used to have a lot of head stuff. I don't so much anymore. Um, it's just a lot. But damn sure y'all see me get them hot flashes. But the hot flashes are symptoms of some of these other things as well. Okay. But again, it makes me question, which I questioned a long time ago, and I was talking to crazy ass Brown Joe Bellamy about it briefly. We didn't have no deep conversation about that. Okay, through texting. Let me emphasize that. But anyway, it was something that I wanted to do a kind of a study on. Um, this book, I always mention it, and I often want to read excerpts from the book. I just don't know where to begin, so I haven't, and that's The Great Cosmic Mother. So I haven't, but it makes me question because of the violence that is again done to women in a patriarchal world. Okay, it ain't just men in charge. Okay, you understand what I'm saying? Okay. You know, there's a well, I don't want to get veer too far off into that. So during that time, it was just like I just was just like I remember I was on my bed one day, like in a ball, and I was just like, you know, God, just give me a little more time. I thought I was dying. When I found the support groups for perimenopause, a lot of the things that the women were experiencing, I had too. So I was like, okay, so this is what's happening, you know, like this saved my life. But once again, it with all the symptoms of all of these other things, or did what they had done to me, did it trigger that? You understand what I'm saying? Or were they trying to send me some kind of sickness or something, some kind of illness, so I would die? You know, because the hitman came and all of these things, and the hitman came when I had lifted myself up out of that. Okay, I would use like one summer I just didn't do shit. Okay, I was in my house, I think, just about every day. That was when I had the agoraphobia. Okay, that again I healed myself from. um it just would be laid out, and I would take pictures. I had my Facebook back then, and by the way, beyond your Bellamy, it hit me, bitch. I know if you was you done went and screenshotted all my pictures from off that my old Facebook, my personal one. You probably sit up there and took probably God knows how many days and read every single post of mine on there, you weird freak. Okay, but anyway, back to what I was saying. That's some weird shit. But back to what I was saying. And I thought about, I said, so when did the whole trying to extract my energy and my essence and take me and be me and all of this type of thing, or whatever the fuck, okay, use me like some kind of goddamn battery. Which I had figured that out. I was like, these motherfuckers trying to use me like I was a battery or some shit. Okay. And then I actually heard someone say that, oh, like a year or so later. I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I felt like. You know, they was trying to use me like a battery. Okay. When did it begin? So when I looked and I said, okay, so these are the rewards that these people were given to do this to me. Surely this woman who raised me, I'm like, you know, okay, she probably spearheaded the shit, but no, surely there was something or someone over her that was paying her. Okay, but undoubtedly, you know, I really think that my father, because I looked at it, hit me. I was like, look at their life. Now I didn't know them when they were younger. I mean, you know, I was birthed into the situation when they was in their 20s. But look at where their lives went, or what they became. Now, this is not to say that a person does not have the capacity to, that I'm saying that a person does not have the capacity to actually um, elevate themselves without all the witchy put. Okay, or without sacrificing others. But this realm, apparently, this is some big shit here. Okay, to sacrifice someone. Okay, um, and you what you can say, you know, some people use the word chosen one, star seed, whatever. Okay, the star child. Okay, um to sacrifice them, okay, for their so that they can elevate in the society, but in this material realm. I was watching a video yesterday. He broke down. Oh my gosh, he broke it down so simply. The whole story with the greater, okay, and the other spiritual beings coming from the greater. And then the Pistis Sophia being one of them, and how she created this being, or we call it demiurge, or Yaldabaoth, okay, and who was a deformed being who created thinking he was the only God, okay, and created this material realm. I mean, he broke it down so I've heard other people tell the story, but I never heard anyone break it down as simply as he did, okay. I mean, even a child could understand it, all right. And that now there might be different, because he was talking about Gnosticism, there might be different accounts of it, but one account I heard is that, when he created human beings, that the Pistis Sophia came behind him and blew the breath of divinity into the human, so that the human beings would have a chance in hell, being divine, to get up out the shit. You understand what I'm saying? But the story that I watched was saying that the demiurge broke the Sophia into billions of pieces and put a piece of, of her light, of her divinity, into human beings, okay. And again, the soul from the Sophia being trapped in the material realm, in the human body material realm, okay, and the archons and whatnot. Okay, so they could never get out there, okay, so they, and being harvested, that would be, sounds like to me, that would be these powers and principalities that that we find in the scriptures, the rulers, the darkness of the world, that sit in, spiritual wickedness in high places. But anyway, so this is, I'm not saying that this is absolute, okay. So I looked at my father's life. I remember a lady who raised me used to tell me about him, and how he did ended up doing very well in his life financially. I couldn't tell you now. I have no clue. I have not talked to these people in years. Okay, but even before that, according to her, got to the point where maybe he wasn't doing so well financially. But this is how things happen. Okay, you sell yourself out, or you sell your child out, or whoever out, for the material possession, okay, for the ranking, for the status, so on and so forth. But eventually it goes downhill, okay. um and when I remember my dad worked at I well, he ended up working at AT&T. But I remember when I was a kid, when I was real little, he worked at some warehouse. I think it was Solon. I think that may have been where he worked at. But I think it was the phone company. I'm pretty sure it was. Okay, but I don't know if it was called AT&T back then. Okay. I remember Ohio Bell became something. Okay, or bought by one of these companies, but I can't remember if that was it, because he used to always take it to. They would have a Christmas party every year for the kids. It would be so fun. I mean, it'd be packed. Well, it seemed packed. I was little. Everything seemed big and great and grand when you're small. Okay. But anyway, she would tell me how he worked in the warehouse, and I said, well, how did he, uh, you know, his career, how did he keep getting promoted and elevated? And she said, well, he went to his boss and told him, I think I can do more, and his boss just gave him opportunity. That could very well be the truth, but it could very well not be the truth. It could very well be some bullshit. Okay. Because I remember when I was older and he was living in Atlanta, and I asked him one day, what exactly do you do? Because I think I was writing a paper or something for school, and I wanted more information for my paper or something like that. And when he would tell me things, I never really could. It just never really seemed to kind of come together for me. Like, thinking, what do you mean? Okay. And when you ask these questions, I was always really I used to date this guy, Reverend Doctor. Okay. When I was in seminary. And he used to say to me, Nikki, you ask the hard questions. No. I asked the question. I guess that's hard for you, or you don't want to answer. Okay. And because you think I'm going to judge you, I'm going to run from you or walk away from you and all of this kind of stuff. No, I'm not going to do any of that. But that's not a issue for me to have to worry about. And when you ask these quote unquote hard questions and you get answers like, well, what? You know, oh, you didn't expect that question to be asked. So now you got to figure out how to answer it without telling the truth. Or with my dad, it was always. You know, they say don't use them words like always, but it was always. Uh, I'll tell you later. All the time. Why are you going to tell me later? Shit. We're having a conversation now. Well, what are we doing here? Just sitting here. Oh, well, you know. Well, I can't really explain that. Okay. But anyway, so I really could never tell him, but I don't know exactly. I don't know what he does exactly. I'm not saying it's not a legitimate position, but it's not, I can't tell you because I'm not being told. I don't understand what he's saying. He's not really saying anything. Okay. But I just know in management. That's all I got. That's all I could tell you. How did you get there? I think I did ask him one time. If you didn't have the background or the schooling or whatever, then how did you get there? How did you get that position? Well, hold on. I'm going to use the restroom. All right. How did you get the position? How did you get, tell me about your promotions and all of that type of shit. It was always, well, and even the whole story with her telling me something about him, what was it? Telling the initial boss, I think I can do more. I want more. I think when I said something to him about it, I believe it was him. It was like this. The story was contradictory than what she had been telling me for years. But see, I always looked at my dad as somewhat absent-minded, so I was like, well, I don't know, maybe he forgot or some shit like that. So one time, I was driving along, thinking about my life. This was a while ago. This is not recent. And I said to myself, I really wanted to be that movie star. I really want to be a star. I heard clear as day, you already are. I said those words. I shared it with the lady who raised me, and she said, mm-hmm. I'm thinking, oh, mama just being, all sweet. Yeah, you my star in my eyes. No, honey. Like, this real life, like I said before, my life has been a real live Truman show. Now, people think that because, especially on this fucking app, that because you never talked about it before, or you didn't say these things before and whatnot. No, that you copying off of them. No, I didn't say it on this motherfucker, and I don't know you anyway, or I didn't say it at all. I didn't repeat these things at all to anyone. But damn sure not on no goddamn app. They try to steal my, nobody's trying to steal your shit. Okay. I ain't talking about crazy ass Bianca Bellamy. I'm just saying in general. I was talking to somebody yesterday. She's got a business, and she was telling me she just does not like social media, and she doesn't want to use it to advertise her business. And I said, I don't blame you, you know. She's a young woman, like 30, in her or she was 30 or in her 30s. And we were talking about how, you know, people, there was no social media. People do was just, you know, advertise your business locally, word of mouth and whatnot. And I said, but the thing that's funny is now the people who have been raised with this social media, they seem to think that they know you based off of videos in 10, 20 minutes, 60-minute, 90-minute videos, as opposed to actually meeting someone and having a conversation with them. But that's what has been done to the brain for them to think that way. And they do. When I saw that Truman Show, I remember thinking to myself, I thought it was so weird, you know. I thought it was so wrong. I said, you mean tell me these people actually created, made this man's life entertainment for the world, and he didn't know it. And I said, yeah, I have felt like I've been watched. My steps have been watched. Okay. But I didn't necessarily feel it was like that. Okay, like that movie. But now I can look back and say, when these people said things to you, and I would try to say, well, maybe they meant this, and maybe no, they meant exactly what the fuck they said to you. Because see, the devil gonna tell you the fucking truth. Satan and them gonna tell you the truth. I'm thinking about how in the Bible, is it him that's called the father of lies? But somebody out there gonna tell you the fucking truth. Lucifer gonna tell you the truth. Lucifer, the light bringer. The light bringer. The one who awakens you. He's gonna tell you the motherfucking truth. Okay. This is like the snake told Eve. Here's the motherfucking truth, goddamn. You was lied to, bitch. You're not going to die. Your eyes. That's why they've got these people, these theologians and whatnot, saying, is Satan really, is God really Satan? And Satan, God? Okay. I don't know. But anyway, and Satan and Lucifer being two different beings, but nevertheless, anyway, that's what you got those videos where they're saying was Jesus actually Lucifer? Okay. Where it says in the Bible, where he says something about, what is Lucifer called, the angel of light or something like that. Okay, maybe I'll look it up. I got time. The light bearer, Lucifer, it means light bearer or morning star. Okay. Not the angel of a specific domain like music or entertainment, but was originally the angel of light and was considered a brilliant and beautiful being. Okay. Now, what I'm reading is equating Satan and Lucifer. It says, after the fall, a new name. After his rebellion, he became known as Satan, which means adversaries. Your adversary, I guess you could say, who still is the light bearer, awakens you. But anyway, I'm only saying that to say, when I would ask these questions, and like when I said to her, you know, and I heard you already are a star. And she said to me, mm-hmm. I don't mean like just like, you know, people call you, oh, Angel. That was my grandmother. That was her nickname for me when I was a baby, Angel. Oh, you're just so sweet and wonderful. You're just an angel, or, you know, you're a beautiful star. No, I wasn't talking about that. Okay, I'm on the screen. Okay, the big screen. Okay, and I heard loud as day, you already are, bitch. You're already being watched, you're being followed. Okay, and we're siphoning the shit off your fucking ass. Okay, but then it made me wonder. I said, well, I wonder, did the lady who raised me, because apparently when I was small, she worked as a nurse, but I guess maybe an LPN, licensed practical nurse, and eventually became a registered nurse. And then she went to school and went to study social work, which I don't think she ever did anything with that. And then she went to Bible school or seminary. I don't know what that school was she went to, if it was actually a seminary or Bible school. I don't know. Okay. And I do remember that time thinking, well, she finished that already? Did time go by that fast? And then watching these people, just parents, go higher and higher and higher and higher. But yet at times I would be feeling lower and lower and lower and lower. And I remember when I was here, I came back here, and I was really in my own world, doing my own thing. Eventually I got involved with her family, thinking, okay, well, this family, I get involved with them. Part of me wants to say biggest mistake I ever made. Biggest mistake I ever made was coming back here. Biggest mistake I ever made was staying here. But not, and biggest mistake I ever made was getting involved with them, but not really. Okay. Because it, opened my eyes and awakened me to, okay, this is what has been happening in my life ever since I can remember. This is what I've been feeling. The harvesting. I had a dream one time. When was it? I was still living in my grandmother's house, so it might have been in 2021, maybe earlier that year. But I don't think it was winter time, so maybe like in the spring or something like that. And all I know is that I saw a woman who looked like me. And I looked at her and I was like, that's me. But she was real chunky. She was really, really beautiful, okay? Real chunky. She had a beautiful dress. And it was almost like an auction block. Like I was on an auction block with others. And it's like they were literally selling people. And I heard sold. I did a video about it. I did a reading on it. But I remember when I did the read, it's still on here. When I did it, I was trying to get answers for it, but I remember thinking I didn't get the answer. Nothing was explained to me. I'd have to go back and look at it. I thought I titled it Sold. I went looking for it one day and I didn't find it. Okay, so I don't know what I titled it. But anyway, and the woman that I was looking at that looked at me like me, but she was heavy, she laughed. And I remember I was in my dream and I was like, I wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying? But I couldn't look, I couldn't move. You know what I'm saying? I was just up there like, oh, and she was like, huh? Like, bitch, I got you. Okay. And that's the end of that. And I was like, oh, shit. And I wanted to fight the bitch. But at the same time, she looked like me. I thought it was me. I don't know who that one was. I don't know if it was me. See, I don't know. And I was thinking when I did the reading, the answers would come, but it didn't. You know what I'm saying? And I just remember thinking to myself when I woke up, hell no, bitch. I said, I'm gonna find out who that bitch was. Okay, we get that bitch back, okay? But yeah, she was like, huh? Like, bitch, I got you. Ain't shit you can do. But anyway, so to this day, I wondered to this day, I'm like, oh shit, what was that? But it wasn't like a dream. It felt like, these dreams that be feeling real, right? Like that. And I can't really say it felt like, it wasn't like anybody that I knew doing a dream infiltration and whatnot. It was just like it was on another realm, another reality. All right. But nevertheless, I was going to ask questions on my pendulum about these specific people who were involved here and this whole thing with me, the setting out to destroy me, to harvest my energy, take me from me, take my essence, take my soul. Like I said, I kept asking, what do they want? I'm like, they kept saying, they want your soul, bitch. That's what the fuck they want. And I heard that over a year ago. And then a year later, I hear a reader say they want your soul. They want your soul essence or something like that, she said. Soul something, she said. But anyway, so I looked, I said, see, these people may have been harvesting off of you, or probably were. People have been harvesting off of you and your energy, using you like a battery for a lot of years, for a long time. It's not new. And as you saw them go higher and higher in the material realm there, you were going lower and lower and lower. And like I said, I remember I was in my 30s. I was sitting at home in my grandmother's house. Okay, at this point it was mine. I was sitting at my dining room table. It was a beautiful dining room table. It was glass. And I kept thinking to myself, somebody has done something to me. This is not my life. This is not my life. I'm not supposed to be here. Okay. But I didn't know the in depth of the things that I'm talking about now that I've learned. Okay, so that's what that is, and the harvesting and the instilling your essence and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, so that they can do well and rise in the material realm. So when you see these things, if this stuff has happened to you and you happen to look back, okay, because we got social media now, and even if we didn't, people know how you would hear through talk and conversation and whatnot. Okay, this person who was nothing but less than the gutter, okay, all of a sudden, is getting honors and accolades from city officials, okay, or all of a sudden, you understand what I'm saying? Or they're getting promoted, or their dream came true and they moved, or all of a sudden now they're married, and all of these things, okay, that kind of goes, just like this man said in this movie, that goes against who you knew them to be and the path that they were on. And yet who got it all together, got it going on, and all of these things, okay, your shit just seems to keep getting less and less. And people are talking about you and trying to destroy you, and all of that shit. What the fuck has happened, what is going on, okay? Or no matter how much work you put into something, you take one step forward, okay, but yet you keep getting knocked down. Everything you do keeps getting knocked down. Okay, and you may at some point blame yourself. Okay, or maybe I ain't good enough, I ain't this enough, I ain't that enough. Okay, but you really know in your heart of hearts that's not true, and when you're doing something. I remember when I talk about this television show I had a lot, and sometimes I think to myself, people may think, oh, that she always talking about when she had that, or when she had this, or when she had that. When I was watching Eddie Murphy today, that's what he talked about. Exactly what he was talking about. That's exactly, they did a whole documentary on what he did. Sure, about where he's at now, but on what he did. So don't ever, when people do that to you, because they will, because it's a way of trying to keep the narrative up that you ain't shit, that you ain't nobody, or you a has-been. They want to they leave then. They want to make you feel low. They want to make you feel down about yourself. But yet here you are, you the battery, who they're going to, so that they can have a piece of a chance at life to feel like something. Okay. That's what we do when we talk about any historical figure, what they did do. And apparently what they did do and what you did do was enough for them to look to you and say, I don't have the courage or anything like that, or the light or the essence that that person has. Let me go here, make some deals with some devils and some demons and all types of shit to grab that person's essence so it can be mine. And the way that it will continue to work is for as long as and yet as your shit is being drained off you, you keep going lower and lower and lower because your shit is being drained off of you. And then they want to pile onto you. This person ain't shit. You ain't nothing. You was, but you ain't now. But that's to make you feel low about yourself so that they can continue to extract off you. Because if you're not in no high vibration about who and what you are, then it's easy for them to take that from you. Okay. Perception. And just fucking reality. And what? Knowing who you are. Okay. All right. I remember one time I was doing an episode. It just happened about at least 3 or 4 times. It was a monthly thing. I just did it once a month. There were these 2 councilmen. I couldn't stand these motherfuckers. Not because of the work that they did do or didn't do. Because their fucking energy was nasty. I was sitting in there, you know, we're doing an interview or whatever. I'm doing an interview with whoever I'm interviewing. And they just would just stand there and just watch. Just give all kind of evil eye. Just right there, right in the studio, just right there. And I remember one time we had to take a little break or before the person that I was interviewing, they was, you know, getting ready with the microphone and however that shit go. And I remember looking at them and I spoke. I said, hi. Not one word. I said, look at these evil motherfuckers. They don't want me doing this. I don't even know who they are. I mean, I know they're councilmen, but I don't know them like that. Evil as hell. See, so some of these people are involved in this. Like I said, this lady that I raised me, you know, she worked at Cleveland Clinic, bragged about how she knew all the surgeons, all of them by first name, this, that, and other. I'm sure you did. Did all these secret society underground shit. Just like them 2 motherfuckers that was standing. There was about 3 or 4 episodes that I did. Just standing in there watching. Just watching with their hand behind their back. Just all evil eyeing my shit. The fuck is the problem? Okay. And that's what I would be thinking. I said, well, what's the problem? The station manager she said it was a go. So if there's a problem, the problem is with her, not with me. And if y'all don't want me to do the shit, fine, I don't have to do the shit. But they didn't want me to do it. Because almost a year later, I only did 12 shows. It was once a month. Well, I get a call. Well, they, you know, it's just that the show is just it's boring. Just sitting there interviewing people. How is that boring? That's what people do. That's what Oprah do. She just sit on the fucking stage and interviews people. What are you talking about? Well, we was hoping that you could possibly go. Who's the fucking we? Who's we? Because I talked to you. That's this how this ended. I ended it for people who want to lie. This is my shit, and she said this is all yours. I ended it. So who's we? What do you mean we? We had a conversation, and we want. Who the fuck is we? And what we want you to do is to go into these places of worship. No, I'm not going into these places of worship because Christians and your silly ass Baptist churches and Pentecostal churches don't think of your stuff as sacred. There are other people of faith who do think of it as their temples as sacred and holy, and they don't want nobody just coming in here exploiting the shit. And I'm not going to do that. I mean, when I introduced the idea, and she said, okay, we don't usually do religious programs, but we're going to do this. Okay. And I did my first program on Ifa, had a Babalawo on. And we made it 2 parts because the show was only like a half an hour. And it was just too much information for a half hour, so we did 2 parts. And after the second one, she was like, well, we was hoping that we shit again. Who the fuck is we? That you could just talk about Christianity. You want to do a whole, not just one program, right? Just in general, because it's just too complicated. People don't know. What it is exactly what I said it was going to be, and you approved it. But it's somebody in the background who's very uncomfortable with it. And probably it might be something personal, just some Christian person, some black Christian person, okay? Because they revel in not being educated and not learning. They love it. I ain't saying every single black person on earth, obviously, or in America, or including Ohio. But they love not obtaining knowledge. That's why I say my people perish for lack of knowledge, and let's look around us. And is uncomfortable with, but this is not for that single person. But hell, if it's the mayor or whatever, what can I say? I don't know who it is. You're saying we. So I tried my damnedest. I said, okay, well, let me do Pentecostalism, and let me do, not Protestantism, because Pentecostalism is Protestantism. Let me do anything that was around Christianity. I did about 5 shows of that, 5 or 6, and after that I said, fuck that. I don't give a fuck what they say, And because it's like, it's the same thing expressed differently, but the doctrine there's only a couple of minor differences. The doctrine is Christian, it's Christian. Besides Catholicism, it's Protestantism. It's the belief is the same. There are some minor differences, but nothing major. It's all the same. I didn't ask you to do a Christian show. I said a religious show, and I told you the specifics of what it was going to be. So all of this we, who the fuck is we? And they did ask me to come to a meeting, but I didn't do it. I'm not coming to a meeting about shit. I'm done. Okay. That'd be my attitude. Okay. And then later I'll be like, well, maybe I could have went and sit and said and listen to what they wanted to say. But the reality is you just want, you don't like it, you're uncomfortable with it. And I know me, I don't care what your title is, I'm going to speak up. And if I speak up, then then in your eyes, I am now written up as a problem. Difficult to work with. She got attitude. No, I'm telling the fucking truth, and you don't want that. You don't want to tell the truth. Just tell the truth. We don't like that shit. We don't want to hear about that shit. I'm Christian, that's all I want to hear. Okay, or this is politically, this may be a problem, because I didn't realize she said this is the mayor's station. Okay, it was a Cleveland. I thought it was just some local, like what you call it, cable network thing. You know what I'm saying? No, it's the station for the goddamn city, bitch. I didn't really realize that. Well, then just say it's a problem. Politically, this could be a big issue for the mayor or this person or that person. Just say that. All this weird shit. Just say it. Quit hiding. And quit playing. Just, because I want to say, because I don't have no power over you, or do I? Do I have some power over you? That you feel you have to do that? I must. I must be the golden child. I must be that girl. She don't really know who she is, but we do. They done kept it from her for all these years. She don't really know, but we do. She has the power. I must. Because if I didn't, what difference would it make for you to just say, well, this is what it is? This is the reality of it. Because, see, you would know that who could I fight? How could I fight you? Unless you all do know who I am. So the fight wouldn't be with me. It would be with someone else. Because why are you living in fear? Why don't you just say it? You can't do that shit. Because it opposes some political issues for the mayor. Or for these whatever councilman that's standing in here, or whatever the fuck the case is. Yeah, I just came in as an innocent person, you know. I'm a professor of this, and I feel this way, and I think it would be great if, oh, sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. Because she didn't call me saying we don't want to do the show. No, this is how we want you to do it. Who is we and why? What's wrong with what way we doing it? But again, I didn't, no, no. Because it's too. I had some kind of gameplay in the background where they were standing there watching Evil Eye and the whole shit. Still was standing there the whole half hour. Both of them. Don't speak to nobody, no, just stand there watching. Bye. But nevertheless, so just in observation. So don't. What I was saying earlier is, so if these things have happened to you and you look back and you see these people who, I'm hearing the word talentless. Okay, I ain't gonna say every single one. Okay, but in general, and they're going higher and higher and getting these accolades that in a million years, if they never crossed your path, they would have never gotten. Okay, and you're going lower and lower and lower, and it's like, besides get away from their motherfucking asses, understand that you have been their source. You have been their battery source. You have been their power source. And they have been working on you, harboring from you. Now, I will definitely say this woman who raised me probably was doing it. Probably some of the people from that church was doing it to me and others. I've talked about some of these other children, some who have died, and people who have died that I look back on, and I'm like, oh, well, these people, did they sacrifice these people? What became of, look and see what became of certain people's lives after those people died, which I haven't done, but I have questioned. And then I've asked, I've divined on it, and for some I did get, yeah, there was. Yes, they were. Absolutely. That's exactly what they were. That person was sacrificed. Some I don't know by who necessarily. Okay. I didn't stop and say, well, okay, their family member, what became of their life afterwards. I didn't do that. Okay. Nor did I look to see. But don't be sitting up there down dumps like my friend was. And this happened for him and that happened for them. And that's not right. That's not fair. It's not right. It's not fair. Okay. But you was probably harvested off of and sacrificed. Okay. Or some aspect of you. I don't know about some aspect of you was sacrificed. Not your total being. You're not dead and whatnot. But know that that's probably what has occurred, but you're still alive and you're still living. Okay. Don't go back, like, be like Lot and turn into a fucking pillar of salt, where they really, if the salt has lost its savor or whatever, what is it good for? So you can be the salt for them. Okay, to continue to rise higher and higher. Do the motherfucking work, goddamn. Put in some work and some effort for yourself. And you know that you are the star child. Well, what is that? The golden child. That's exactly what I am. That's exactly what you are. So they know they got to continue to do, and then they leave. So they know they got to continue to do this work on you, so that they can be something of some kind of status in their secret groups and clubs and so on and so forth. Okay, in this material realm. Oh, and it's like this golden child here that I'm looking at here. All the things that they have to work hard for, and I don't mean work in doing that. I mean information that it is that they seek, the secrets that they seek, and all that is already in your being. That is who and what you are. That is who and what I am. Okay, that's why I can say to the girl, I don't need to read no fucking book about who and what I am. I'm the book that I read, that I study. Now this young lady, she keeps coming around and whatnot, driving past my house and looked up where I live, seeking new recruits and whatnot, okay, to complete the work that it is that they set out to do. It will not be, honey. Okay. You just keep on going with what it is that you're doing, okay? What you set yourself up for that. So you in school, go do the work the proper way. I don't give a fuck about what the inner workings of this goddamn city is that allowed you just to get something for nothing, without any work and without any effort, without any real work and effort. Okay. I don't give a fuck that you did sell your soul and sacrifice your. I don't care who told you to do it. I don't care if Beyond your crazy ass Bellamy told you to do, or who anybody else told you to do that to yourself, to completely destroy yourself, to completely eliminate yourself and who and what you are and your being and so on and so forth. That you didn't love yourself enough to hold on to who you are and have faith and trust in yourself enough to believe in yourself that you can be exactly who and what you are destined to be, which is yourself, and you just destroyed your whole being and your whole destiny. Confirmation. Okay, confirmation. Okay. Bitch, that don't have nothing to do with me. That is what you chose to do. And you can continue if you want to with your lies about me, spreading it all over town and getting these little youngins who don't know no better to assist you, to help you, okay? Because all you're doing is bringing more karma on yourself, okay? By bringing in innocent people and lying to them about me so that you can try to, with more of the black magic, witchcraft and all of that kind of stuff, to try to kill me and eliminate me to get whatever star status they told you was going to get. You're not going to get that shit from me. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be. Not over here. Not through here. Not through my vessel. Not my soul. Not my being. Not my essence. It's not going to be. Now, you used to ask me all the time, am I going to ascend? Hell no, bitch. There's your answer. You answered yourself. And that person that asked is dead and gone. Trapped up somewhere. And for anybody else. Now, I mean, I don't know the specifics, but, you know, if my dad did do that to me, which I believe he did, and which I believe he did, next thing I knew was he didn't even have enough money or a good enough name credit-wise to get an apartment when he moved here. That's what happens. These are the choices that you make. But they call him the father of lies. But yet at the same time, he tell you the truth. But you're so arrogant, thinking you can. What they say is, his arms too short to box with God. Your arms too short to box with God. Hell, your arms too short to box with Satan and them. You can't box with none of them motherfucking asses. What they tell you it is what it is, and what it's gonna be. You a piece, a very minute piece of the realm, of the universe, of the world realm. How you think that is the all? Don't know what's up, or that you gonna outwit it. How? But you know, that's it. Just seems as though that's humanity's one of their plights, to think that they are all that and more, that they can outwit that is all yet nothing at all, for real. And then you can say these motherfuckers have got shit if it wasn't for me. And I will say that you wouldn't have got shit if it wasn't for me. Even if it was you just harvesting off of what? Me. It's not arrogance, that's just the truth. Father, fake mother, and whosoever else. Let me see, should I pull a couple of cards on it? So you see, like I said, this one person, I mean, I saw this person in real time, and I'm like, he still looked like a fucking bum. Still looks grotesque and disgusting. Spirit man. Or it still looks dull as ever. Don't you let the things that you see in this fake world and realm by some defunct, God being make you feel less than who and what you are if this has been done to you, if you've been siphoned off of and lied about, mistreated, and all of that kind of stuff, so that people could put you under, so that they can suck you and drain you dry, like you're some battery. So, okay. Because when you see them in real time, you see the reality. Like I saw that person in real time. You're still gross. Anything we need to know about any of this? This is what they're looking for. This is what you're looking for. This, I have it all. Someone's serving me, feeding me grapes, and I've got all the golden goblets and all. I've got it all, okay? But this is the reality here, okay? And doing it to you to put you in the wheel of the misfortune, to try to bring, so that you don't have any justice coming to you or any fairness coming to you. Yet you are who you are. You are still this high priestess, honey. Who I am. Nothing else. And to try to do that to this energy, this high priestess energy. Your being, I'm hearing. Not anything else. Okay. Here, trying to make you feel rejected. Here, trying to kick you up off your throne and out of your home. Trying to kick me up off my throne and out of my home. I don't think so. My home, my being. You kidding me? Okay, what you was told? It's not a I'm better than you. I think I'm better than you, but apparently I am. Apparently you feel that way. Okay. This is what you like, self-love. Okay. See all y'all trying to tear me down? No. I don't think so. Okay. You can stop the targeting. Okay. With your betrayal and so on and so forth. Trying to make something be that's not going to be. Just exposed. Your shit is exposed. and done. It's kind of sad. Anything else? You know, my heart is not broken. But that's what you seek to do. So you can complete whatever it is that you set out to do. To destroy me completely. So you can get all the wonderful accolades and all the material shit and all of that type of thing. What does it profit a man to gain the whole world, lose his own soul? Bitch, that wasn't even you no more. I'm looking like, who is that person? And it comes across real creepy. What's the word? The energy of it, of whatever that is on you, whatever spirit that is, just comes across really strange and creepy. And I don't know what the word is. I can imagine you all do. But like I said, the one he just looked nasty. All up in it. Ugh. Just gross. But here you don't want it to end. But it's been in. It's been over. Okay. Okay. See what you were looking for, you're not going to get it. Okay. Living in some kind of weird perverted fantasy. Okay. Blocked. You're blocked. Okay. And bitch, whatever, you that ain't gonna happen over here. Cause like I said, even when I was down with that, oh, girl, I'm scared to go outside, I did. It wasn't ain't no pill. Ain't no crying. Ain't none of that shit. Gotta get up and go. Gotta get up and live. And that's exactly what I did. And that's just what it is. That actress, whether she was forced into it or not, she still left up on out of here. I don't know if that girl was murdered or if she killed herself. Hold on. Yeah. I think that girl was murdered. I don't care. I don't give a damn what they tell you in the news. Oh, she had a heart attack or some dumb shit like that. No. Okay. Apparently you didn't get this 10 of cups by thinking you're going to get it up off through me. But you still keep coming around here. Still keep astral projecting. Still keep doing your black magic witchcraft. Still calling on people, looking for something that you just got to have it, got to have it. Yet you don't have yourself. Okay. Looking for something to take you up out of your place of torment, or you thought you was going to torment me, or I was going to be living in a state, a 9 of swords. No, not at all. Okay. I think that's it. I don't know. Maybe you're probably in some kind of tower right now. Okay. And not just you. All of you. Don't, when these people, this shit that have happened to you, like that girl was comparing her, don't compare yourself. Don't compare your life to what you think you see. To whatever they got going on. Don't. Especially if you put some work and time and effort into whoever it is that you are and your being. And when that ain't fair, fuck it. This world, this material realm wasn't made for you. doesn't mean that you can't do well and that you can't be succeed and that you can't be successful. I am not saying that, but it's a lot, like that man said in that movie, motherfucker, did you ever question that and wonder why defunct motherfuckers is doing well? Making all kind of money, got career all on fleek and all that. Did you ever wonder why? Did you ever question it? I'm about to tell your motherfucking ass why. All right. All right, I think that's it for now. Okay. I am going to get on up off of here and begin my fucking day. Same card came up. Real hearts. Swords in reverse. No heartbreak here. Not now, never will be. Okay. So if you think that that is what's going to make it make this shit come in for you, that's in the reverse, is bringing some more conflict into my life and my world and my being. Okay, that's the idea that you holding on to. Okay, because the shit ain't came in for you yet the way you wanted to, because you just don't want the shit to end, because you didn't get what the fuck you thought you was gonna get, and you still living in your fucking fantasy world. Bitch, you can forget it, not over here. Okay, and hopefully I'm gonna put it out there to the universe, not nobody. Leave people the fuck alone. Okay, and do something for real with your fucking life. All of you who thought that, yeah, we'll get it, we'll destroy her, we'll get it. I don't care what you got, okay, or what's coming to you. Kudos to you, but bitch, you're not going to get it by sacrificing me. Or whatever the fuck you were looking for that didn't come through, because, damn, she didn't die. We didn't talk about it enough. I got to get more people involved. Okay. Like Miss Nessa. Is that one of y'all? The redhead witch. A little girl. I don't know. He doesn't know me. Y'all just don't mind bringing, but that's what you're made of. This is your home. So whatever. Now I would say, you thinking about my dad, you get sick and whatnot. Well, he is old. He's older. Okay. But that don't mean shit. There's been plenty of people out there who lived in their hundreds and they still they didn't even take a goddamn vitamin. They ain't take nothing. Just as healthy as they can be. Old don't equate to sick. Mentally or physically. Okay. But end up having to lower themselves just to get a place to live. Hell, when you was damn near living in, I don't know, a big, beautiful home. What happened? Now, I will say stay your ass away, but your head is hard as a fucking brick, bitch. I told you that a long time ago. Yet you keep coming around, and I believe you done looked up to find out where I live, driving past my house and all types of shit. Bitch, like I said about Bianca Bellamy, you're fucking nuts, but, you lost yourself. For the material realm, for the acceptance, for the reward, for the lie of the dream of this world. That's on you. Okay. All right, and others that involve themselves. Continue to get your hell. When I saw the bum confirmation, when I saw the bum with the accolades, I looked and I said to myself, well, hell, the motherfucker needs to feel like somebody. But at the same time, you still don't feel like shit because you don't look like shit. You still ain't taking care of yourself and you're being right. But anyway, I gotta go. You all have favor, peace, and blessings.